Hello there and welcome back to our videos on the topic of cell division. So in this video, we're going to be taking a closer look at mitosis and also at something called the cell cycle. So one of my fondest childhood memories was going to McDonald's to have breakfast with my family. And I remember how my parents would buy one big breakfast set for me and my brother to share. So we had to divide it, right? So somehow it would be quite equal. We'll have the sausage thing. One person gets one muffin, one person gets one pancake, and so on. We'll divide it out equally. So in the same way, during cell division, the parent cell, right, needs to be divided fairly into two daughter cells. So the parts of the parent cell need to be distributed or divided sort of equally. And in general, there's two parts of the parent cell that need to be divided. The first part is the nucleus. Right? There's only one nucleus in the parent cell, and that needs to be divided into two nuclei, one for each daughter cell. And the other part of the parent cell that needs to be divided is the cytoplasm. Now the cytoplasm, thankfully, it's not like this comic where it contains cars and money that needs to be divided. Cells don't have cars and money, but cells have organelles. Right, so the cytoplasm contains mitochondria, rough endoplasmic reticulum, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi, everything is inside the cytoplasm, and that also needs to be divided equally to both daughter cells. So therefore, cell division is made up of actually two processes. The first process is that you need to divide the nucleus. And you see the cell here, right? This is the parent cell with one nucleus. And it divides, right, we'll look at these stages later, but it divides to form two nuclei. So this division of the nucleus is known as mitosis. And only after dividing the nucleus, then you divide the cytoplasm. So you can see here, the cytoplasm divides, right, and then you get two daughter cells. And this division of the cytoplasm is known as cytokinesis. Okay, so first you divide the nucleus through mitosis, then you divide the cytoplasm through cytokinesis. And together, mitosis and cytokinesis makes up cell division. Alright? Now with that in mind, I'm going to give you the more accurate definition of mitosis in a while. And then after that, we'll look at something called the cell cycle, and we'll end off by looking at something called the interphase. And all this information can be found on these textbook pages. Okay, so what is mitosis? Well, here's the definition of mitosis. Alright, so definitions are very important. Please remember this definition. So mitosis is a nuclear division. Now that has nothing to do with nuclear bombs. Right? Nuclear division just means division of the nucleus. Now I know in the last video, I said that mitosis is a cell division. But what is more accurate to say is that mitosis is a nuclear division. Right? So mitosis is just the part where the nucleus divides. We're not talking about the cytoplasm dividing it. Okay, so mitosis is a nuclear division where a parent nucleus, right, divides to form two genetically identical daughter nuclei. Right, so notice now the focus is on the nucleus and not on the cell anymore, because mitosis is really just referring to the nucleus dividing. Right, to form daughter nuclei with the same number of chromosomes. Okay, so mitosis is a nuclear division where a parent nucleus over here divides to form two genetically identical daughter nuclei which have the same number of chromosomes. In the case of human beings, right, a nucleus with 46 chromosomes divides to form two nuclei with 46 chromosomes. Now in the last video, we looked at this question of, what does the cell need to do before it can divide? And we saw that before the cell can divide, it needs to, firstly, replicate or double the amount of DNA and chromosomes inside it, right? So that from 46 chromosomes, you can divide to form two cells with also 46 chromosomes. And importantly, the cells actually need to build new protoplasm, right? It needs to build new cytoplasm, needs to build new cell membrane, right? Because this parent cell here, right, is going to give rise to two roughly equal size daughter cells. So there's a lot more cytoplasm here, there's a lot more cell membrane here. So before the cell divides, they need to actually grow and build up new protoplasm. Then there's enough for each of their daughter cells. So because cells need to grow before they divide, we can roughly think of a cell's life in this way. Okay, a cell is born, and then it grows, and then when it grows enough and it's ready, it divides. And then when it divides, right, each cell, this is actually when it divides, this cell is born, so the cycle is repeated. A new cell is born, it grows, and then it divides. Now this sequence of events, a cell is born, then it grows, then it divides, and then a new cell is born, and then it grows, and it divides. This is known as the cell cycle. Right? The cell cycle is a sequence of events from the time a cell is formed, from when it's born, until the time that it divides. And the cell cycle is made up of a few phases. Right? The first phase is called interphase. And interphase is that time when the cell grows, when it makes new protoplasm, and it replicates its DNA. And then after it has grown enough, then it undergoes mitosis, it divides its nucleus, and then it undergoes cytokinesis, it divides its cytoplasm. And together, remember, mitosis and cytokinesis is known as cell division. So looking at this diagram here, right, the cell is born somewhere here. Okay, here a new cell is born. Right, it grows, it replicates its DNA in interphase. Then when it's ready, it starts undergoing mitosis. So it divides its nucleus across this time. And then after it finishes dividing its nucleus, it will divide its cytoplasm, so that's cytokinesis. Then a new cell is born, and then the new cell will grow, and then when it's ready, it will divide its nucleus and it will divide its cytoplasm, and then a new cell is born, and so on. So that's the cell cycle. So here's another diagram showing that. So in our diagram, the new cell is born somewhere here. Right after its parent cell divides, the new cell is born here. Then it grows during interphase. It grows, it replicates its DNA. And then when it's ready, it will go through cell division. So first, it will divide its nucleus through mitosis. And mitosis is made up of 4 different stages, which we'll look at in the next video. And then after that, it will divide its cytoplasm through cytokinesis. And then, a new cell is born again. Now, interestingly, not all cells, keep going round and round in this cycle. So some cells, after they are formed, they will not undergo mitosis. Right? There are some cells in our body, once they are formed, they just remain there for the rest of our lives and they function. Right? They don't have to keep dividing. So it is actually possible for some cells to, in a sense, exit the cell cycle and stop dividing altogether. So after cytokinesis, right, they are born and then they just exit and they stop dividing for the rest of their life. Right? But interestingly, some of these cells that stop dividing can also be, stimulated or caused to re-enter the cell cycle and then to divide. And some people think that might be where the secret to self-healing lies. If we can get some of the cells in our body, some of the cells that have stopped dividing, if we can get them to re-enter the cell cycle and then, undergo mitosis again, we might be able to get our cells to regenerate our tissue, a bit like how Wolverine does it in X-Men. But scientists are still looking at it, and there seem to be some dangers if we try to make cells go back into the cell cycle. Dangers like cancer and uncontrollable cell division. Okay, so that's all for this video. We've seen what is mitosis. Make sure you learn the definition. We've seen what's the cell cycle. It is a sequence of events from the birth of a cell to when it divides. And then we've seen what interphase is, a phase of growth, and the replication of DNA before mitosis. I'll see you in the next video.